Well, hello and welcome to the next installation of a daily Dominion. It's Monday, so we have Seaside and Base. So Base paired with one other expansion that happens to be Seaside. And yeah, this kingdom doesn't look all too fun. I don't know. It does have some perks, but it also seems a little on the swingy side. But we'll see how this goes. As always, I will start by going through the cards. And if you've watched videos of mine before, you know that there's a timestamp you can skip to if you're not interested in that. All right, we have Haven. Plus one card, plus one action. Set aside a card from your hand face down on the Haven. At the start of your next turn, put it into your hand. So essentially, this turn it robs you of one card draw, and you set it aside to instead have it in your hand on the next turn. So yeah, some virtual. I mean, it isn't net increasing your hand size, but if you played 5 havens this turn and didn't play any next turn, then you will have a 10 card hand. Well, it's sometimes nice to add some consistency to some decks, but also not super overwhelming, and that's also why it only costs 2. Blockade is a duration card saying gain a card costing up to 4, setting it aside. At the start of your next turn, put it into your hand. While it's set aside, when another player gains a copy of it on their turn, they also gain a curse. And yeah, this can be really annoying. It's a very, very strong gainer. This gain the card or put the card into your hand on the next turn essentially makes it +1 card on a workshop, which is decent. And the attack, yeah, as I said, can be annoying, can disincentivize your opponent from gaining certain cards. If you open with it, you usually, of course, want to find it directly on the first shuffle. But yeah, I don't know. And it is a workshop variant, and there's gardens in the kingdom, so you might also want to think about whether a workshop gardens rush might be worth going for. I don't think so here, but we'll get to that. Gardens is a victory card with 10 victory points per 10 cards you have in our deck at the end of the game. Remodel is a card that trashes a card from our hand, gaining a card costing up to 2 more than it, so we can remake Estate into Gardens, or probably better, Estate into Blockade or Sailor or whatever. And yeah, it's a trasher. It can thin coppers here fairly nicely as you can turn them into havens. Sometimes it kind of sucks at thinning coppers if there's no good 2 cost, but havens are quite alright. But yeah, that's remodel for you. Sailor is another duration card, +1 action. Once this turn, when you gain a duration card, you may play it at the start of your next turn, +2 money, and you may trash a card from your hand. And Sailor and Haven work really nicely together, as if you usually on the turn you play the Sailor, or at least during the early game, you it's very nice in tempo if you can match it up with another duration card. So for example here you could, if you find your sailor, 2 coppers and 2 estates in your hand, you can pair the sailor up with a haven, or if you find four coppers with it, you can even buy and then directly play the blockade. So this is really nice in kingdoms with a bunch of durations. And yeah, seaside kingdoms do happen to have a bunch of durations, so yeah. Bazaar is a village giving also 1 coin. Corsair is an attack card, +2 money at the start of your next turn, +1 card. Until then, each other player trashes the first silver or gold they play each turn. So this can disincentivize your opponent from going for silvers and golds. It can be strong attack if silvers and golds are the only viable and strong payload. Here we have a few other cards. I mean, they're all expensive, like Bazaar, Market, Treasury. But also Sailor can give you money, and Blockade can enable you to gain a bunch of cards, so I don't think you're going to be going hard on the silver and gold train anyway, so of course there might be of little consequence. Market is +1 card, +1 action, +1 buy, and 1 coin. So essentially it replaces the card in your hand and additionally gives you a buy and a coin. Pretty nice. It's plus buy. It's also the only plus buy in this kingdom. Treasury does almost the same as the market, but doesn't give the plus buy. But therefore, at the end of your buy phase this turn, if you didn't gain a victory card in it, you may put the treasury onto your deck. So you can top deck them and immediately play them on your next turn. Finally, we have a very strong attack card, Witch, +2 cards. Each other player gains a curse, and yeah, cursing is strong. +2 cards is alright, but not strong, but yeah, usually you want to go for Witch as early as possible to slow down your opponent, to maybe never have them trash down. Let's hope that doesn't happen to us. And yeah, so that's the kingdom for you, the kingdom plot, where we can look at the properties of this kingdom in light of engine building. It looks a little funky. There's little draw, like Witch is probably the only real draw. The other cards only ever give maybe card back that you had to invest to draw them, like Blockade gives you another card, Market, Treasury, Bazaar, they're all not draw. And the problem about Witch is that it's a mode variant where it's terminal and you'll always have to pair it up with Bazaar if you want to keep your turn going afterwards. But with Blockade and Haven, you might be able to build up a bit of consistency for at least a bit of draw action going on. Yeah, Blockade and Witch are strong attacks. Corsair on the not so strong side, but still, it is an attack. And yeah, Gardens is a nice source of alternate voices to gain victory points. There's a village. And yeah, I think we're going for a deck here that will try to build to double province using Havens, Blockades, Sailors, Bazaars, maybe 1 or 2 markets, and most importantly, Witches. You might also in later game go for some remodel stuff. Remodel, I don't know, 4 cost cards into golds, golds into provinces. I don't know whether the draw supports this. And we'll need to keep an eye out on a 3 pile. A garden strategy also doesn't look too bad. I think it's pretty close. So on bad draws, we might lose this. And yeah, I don't know what else to say about this kingdom. It looks on the weaker side. I mean, on the more sluggy side, due to Witch being there and Blockade being there. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not convinced about this one yet. Opening wise, I think on the 4-3 you want to go for a Blockade and just a silver. With the reasoning being, well, Sailor might also be good, but Sailor, I mean, if you find it turn 3, then okay, you get to trash 1 card before shuffling, okay. But if you find a Blockade on turn 3, you get to put in a Sailor and put in the Blockade once again, which is also really nice. And you might even play the Sailor then on a turn where you can actually buy another Sailor or buy another Blockade, which immediately will set aside 1 more Sailor. And yeah, Blockade and Sailor are really nice, and I think usually Blockade has the edge over Sailor in opening. Why the silver? Well, we also will try to hit 5 as early as possible for Witch. Or maybe the first 5 wants to be... it probably wants to be a Witch. And so that's also why I think the 5-2 is a tad more viable and a tad stronger. If you buy Witch Haven and get to play the Witch on turn 3, you will already shuffle into the next. And as long as you don't draw the Haven dead, you will already shuffle on turn 4, seeing the Witch again, and that can really snowball. And yeah, that's why I think we might be off a little worse. I don't know what the AI has yet, so yeah, let's start the game. I mean, we could also open Haven Blockade, but Silver Blockade seems just so much better. And AI does go for the Haven here, and does go for the Witch indeed. Well, this might be tough, especially since AI finds its witch immediately turn 3 and turn 4. Wow. Yeah, this is going to be super rough. I wouldn't be surprised if we lose this. Especially since we might draw the Sailor Dead here, but we do need to deal the there's the sailor that's drawn dead. But at least we do get to buy another blockade, set aside a sailor, and trash a curse here. And this turn we'll be able to do the same. Okay, AI, okay. AI also goes for this, so yeah. The question is now, oh, we don't want to do this, decline that. Do we also go for yet another blockade sailor combo? I think we do. Like, this one curse is not going to matter that much, hopefully. And we will be able to play the sailor next turn. This is looking really scary because sailors and blockades might pile, and then we might be in a really bad spot. So, yeah, looking scary. We get to double play sailor. Actually, let's trash the estate. I think even though we want to keep 1 copper, so we are guaranteed to hit blockade again, and we do get to play the witch. Yeah, let's do the same thing just once again. We could even play this sailor. This would more or less and allow us to hit province next turn, but that would not leave the blockade marker on sailor, which we might want to have. So let's leave it set aside. We do get to trash a curse here, which is really nice. AI sets aside a remodel. And we could go for province, or could go for the blockade sailor trick once more. It's a bit scary because we don't have that great of a deck down there. We have like 4 blockades in there, but I think I like it nonetheless. Just keep up the pressure. Here we eat another curse. Piles are getting really, really low. So if we were to So we cannot blockade here, I think, right? Because then AI could just gain blockade with a blockade, which it has, no, well, with the remodel maybe. And yeah, no. So what we might want to do is, will AI be able to finish the game next turn? It would need to play remodel. Well, it does have the bazaars, and yeah, it's just looking really, really bad. Um, hmm. Yeah, this is a decision that might decide the game. So I'm gonna take a bit of time thinking about this. If we blockade Sailor, there are 3 blockades left. So AI would have to hmm, AI would need to get 3 blockades and 2 curses, which would not be a possibility unless we take 1 more of the blockades. So we cannot do that. I think setting aside a sailor is good. Decline this. And now just buy Haven, set aside 1 card for our next turn. And here, yeah, we might be able to blockade Gardens. AI does the Haven trick as well. Let's put those into our hand. Decline this. Play the sailors. Oh, do we want to trash one copper? Maybe we want to trash one copper. Yeah, this is turning into a really nasty rush. I don't know. Yeah, just... But in the case that we're going for the gardens, we don't want to trash copper. I'm sorry, I'm still... Yeah, I'm still not feeling like I'm playing this optimally, but yeah, we get to play this and set aside one more garden. So in case AI does also take a gardens, it will take the curse, so it won't do that probably. And no, it has to go for duchy. Yeah, okay. We get to put those gardens in our hand. It's a pity we don't find our sailors, so we do have to go for blockading gardens once again. And with 5, we just buy yet another gardens. Yeah, it's really a pity that we didn't get any sailors in play. And then also that all of those blockades bunched up like this. You get to set aside a curse. And do we just buy a haven here to set aside yet another card? Or do we buy a state? Like, what does AI have set aside? It might hit province next turn. Might be concerned. Yeah, this is... I don't like our position at all, but I think this is what we have to go for. No blockade here. But still, if we get a curse in, like if AI curses us and doesn't go ahead in points, we might be able to... Yes, we might be able to win. Whoa. This is insane. This was... yeah, an insane rush. Wow. I didn't think we would win this after the start. Like, the AI had this amazing 5-2 curse us on turn 3 and on turn 4. And we bottom decked our blockade. Like here, look at this. Turn 3, we gain a curse. Turn 4, AI shuffles its deck, finds its witch on the top, we gain a curse again. Turn 4, we don't even find our blockade. Turn 6, we draw our sailor dead. So really draws that were far from optimal. And somehow we managed to pull through with some of those blockade sailor shenanigans, disincentivizing AI to gain more. In the end, yeah, having that decision of taking the curse for blockading one more sailor was really worth it. Just the synergy with blockade is super duper strong and enabled us for this double gardens blockade play in the end. And I couldn't go for gardens anymore because it would have emptied the curses. It also shouldn't have played that final witch. Although, even if it hadn't gained the final witch, even if it hadn't played this final witch, we would have been able to blockade, and because of the second sailor in our hand, we would have been able to finally blockade curse instead of the gardens, which we did in the end. So, yeah, I don't know how we came out on top of this, but somehow we did. We even had only 2 curses left, which is also amazing. I'm very happy we won this, and with that, I think I can end the video, and I will try to catch you in the next one. Have a nice one. Goodbye.